Hi, welcome to Backstage Pass, another behind the scenes interview about the entertainment industry. And we are covering social media this weekend. I know that a lot of you had questions about social media, and we kind of pitched it this week to specifically actors in the entertainment industry because our guest is an actress and her social media account kind of represents that. So, welcome to Michaela Iverson. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I've been intrigued by Michaela's profile for a while. I mean, she's a great actress and she's so fun. We met on set actually, but also I think she's been doing a great job with her social media and just kind of balancing all of that, or so it appears. And so we're gonna pitch some of these questions to her, but I kind of wanted to give your background a little bit in entertainment business, how you are involved, why you're involved, what you do. Can you kind of tell us your background?
I've been an actress my entire life. I grew up doing musical theater ever since I was really little. Like my first musical was like 7 years old. And I did that all through high school. I took it very seriously. I won most likely to win an Oscar in high school. So hopefully one day I'll get to fulfill that. But even then, like people knew I was pretty dang serious about it. And so I hadn't done any film up to that point. I mean, dumb videos that you make with your friends or whatever. But I hadn't done any like serious acting as far as film, television, commercial goes. And after I graduated high school, I was like, wait a second. Theater doesn't make me much money. um, and anybody that does musical theater probably
Feels
knows
that.
knows that life pretty well. And I was like, well, what the heck? Why don't I try, like, why haven't I ever thought about making movies? Because I really never, I don't know, theater was just so ingrained in me that I just didn't even ever think about that route. So that's when I started doing film and television. This will tell you my age. I'll just tell you, I'm 29. So I've been doing film and television and commercial for 11 years now. And so ever since then, I just kept going and kept doing it. I'm still doing it. I mean, I turned in 4 auditions today. So
Huh.
still doing that grind.
Yeah, that's what it is, the grind, right? Well, and I love having like an actress that's currently in the industry on here because we do have a lot of listeners who are kind of trying to break into that industry or kind of wondering where to start. And social media is kind of a part of the entertainment industry in general. But I guess one of the questions here is why did you decide to incorporate social media and has it helped your acting career at all?
So yeah, that's actually a really great question. Obviously, it's becoming more and more relevant as social media grows and becomes more important. It's taking over entertainment in general. You know what I mean? There's lots of shows even just on social media. I've even created stuff as a producer just for social media. So I will explain like that's kind of a background, but yeah, I did start my Instagram. So I had my personal account and I was like, you know what? I want to create an asset for me as an actress. And so I created an account separate from my personal account just for um, not necessarily just acting, but like to be a social media presence, to help my acting and be an asset for me as an actress. And I, I started doing it and I kept doing it, and then it paid off in the end. Just again that grind. Don't grind too much. You gotta know there's a take and a give to it, obviously. But there's a lot of dedication that goes into doing social media, and I think anybody that's even attempted it knows that. And so yeah, I gave it a go, and it was worth it. I do think it helps my acting career. I don't think I necessarily just get handed jobs because of like acting jobs and modeling jobs because of social media um, and my following count, but I do think it definitely helps, and it's a good representation of me and what I can do and what I can bring to the table.
And what I've heard from others is like if you have a social media presence, just like you said, like it's not like you're gonna you're not going to get handed something, but that people are like, oh, she does like people enjoy her. They can see what you do. Also, you can show that you can build a following, that you have a following. And sometimes with some of the commercials are like, oh, if you already have a following, we get a little bit of extra of that traction too, right? So is that kind of where you've seen the benefits?
Um, I just feel like honestly, it's less of like, oh, look how many followers she has. Let's bring her on. It's more so like my stuff is just constantly out there, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so they aware of me because of that. They're able to see that. That not necessarily like, oh, like her followers would greatly help us. It's more so like, oh, I saw this girl, but it's just because I'm putting that out there so much. If that they're able to find me easier
Right.
because I'm constantly posting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's more so I'd say how it helps me there. That is more on the like professional actor side. On the other side of it, like as an influencer, I do obviously get jobs as an influencer, sponsoring content. But that's like I kind of put that in a separate category, and I also put UGC work there. For those who don't know, it's user generated content. So it's basically an at home commercial, but you really don't need to be an actor to do those. Being an actor helps you do a better job, obviously. Um, but I kind of separate that in my actual professional acting, even though I get paid to do UGC. A lot of my UGC is not even like something I post on my personal my own page. The
Hmm.
company then posts it on their page. So yeah, and we
So
can
you
dive.
don't post it onto your Michaela Iverson Instagram page, right?
Well, for some of them I do. But for a lot of the UGC I do, I get they see me, they see that I make a lot of content and they're like, "Hey, would you be willing to make content for us?" And they just post it on their pages.
And you feel like that probably helps. Like a social media following would help you with user-generated content deals, which is where you get paid a small amount to create content where you use a product, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I do think having a following helps just I think it helps show that you have experience, like have a lot of experience creating content, because you've obviously done it enough to build that following.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, this is some great, I mean, we've got plenty of questions to jump into, so we're going to take a quick break, but we're going to jump into kind of that nitty-gritty of how to utilize social media, of how to gain that, of how she has gained her following, I guess, and used her profile to help in her acting and entertainment business. So we're gonna get to all your questions here in a minute on Backstage Pass with Phoenix. I know a lot of you listening are trying to break into the entertainment industry. You are curious about it. Several of you are actors or actresses, and you had some questions about utilizing social media. Is it necessary? How does it help? How does it hurt? Is it worth the time? Lots of different questions like that. So I have Michaela Iverson on with us right now, and she has been using social media. She's got a great following on Instagram, and she's kind of in the game right now. And so we wanted to pick her brain on social media and how she's using that as a resource and as a tool for her career. So I guess we were talking in the former segment about how you are able to do sponsored content, UGC stuff, because people see that you can do that. They see that you've had experience. And then that you think that some people think you're a familiar face just because your stuff is out there. That's kind of the main ways that social media has been helping your career so far. So one of the questions is, well, how do you get it in the right eyes? How do you get your content, or have you noticed, do you do anything that seems to get into the right eyes, whether that be, oh, a casting director or ad agency or something? Do you think there's anything specific you do?
Yeah, so actually, I've really been working on this lately, recently. So I'm happy you asked that question. Because originally I posted, I don't, you remember Instagram the way it was even just like 7 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Where it was mostly photos. There were not a lot of videos, hardly at all. And it was just like focused on photos. Well, that's right. That's when I started my Instagram. And so most of that was, just photos out there. So it was, I don't know. I didn't like just feeling like I was like a pretty face or whatever, but that's kind of like what you had to do for Instagram at the time. And
Mhm.
things have really changed. And with that change, I've been able to start kind of really focusing on my acting in my Instagram and putting that out there more. And I really love that because it's building an audience that is more authentic to what I love and what the purpose of my Instagram is. And so, part one of this is putting out content that people you want to see that they're going to take notice of, right? Like casting directors aren't going to care about you if you're not, if they don't like, if they just think you're a person, right? They're gonna, like, okay, you're a person putting stuff out on Instagram. But if you're actively talking about being an actor or talking about tips of being an actor or putting out monologues or just showcasing your talent, you're going to kind of, your algorithm is going to start kind of, I don't know, bringing those people to you. And also the more you absorb that content, like the more you're consuming it, watching other actors, that's going to bring those people to your feed as well. And you'll kind of build a community that way. I've been seeing this work in my feed real time. And so that's the part one of that. And then also, obviously, hashtags is a big part of it too. The more hashtags you use that are relevant to acting, to the entertainment industry, the more that people are going to find those, or it's going to be able to bring those hashtags to the people that are looking for them, and those algorithms that are engaging in that kind of content.
So do you have, I've heard multiple different things on hashtags. Do you have certain hashtags that you use that you feel like are working well for the entertainment business?
I mean, I think you just kind of have to switch it up, especially since if you use the exact same hashtag set, the algorithm is kind of going to maybe see you as more of a bot. So, what I've always done with my Instagram is have like different hashtag sets I go through. So, I'll have like 5 different hashtag sets for my acting stuff if I'm posting about acting, and I just rotate through using those hashtag sets and I have them like in a little folder or something, so I can just go copy and paste. So it makes it a lot easier. But, just what I would suggest is finding hashtags that are between 10 and 100,000 as far as like how many times that's been used, that hashtag, because that's not so big that it's like flooded, but big enough that people are actually searching that hashtag. So it's really hard to give you an exact hashtag to use, because even acting posts are so specific. If I'm not posting a monologue, if I'm just giving an acting tip, I don't want to do a hashtag monologue because that's not going to be very relevant to exactly what I'm posting, but like if you're posting theater stuff, hashtag theater kid, hashtag theater adults, like you just go through and you find the ones that are between that like 10 and 100,000, and that will help you increase your reach in those different fields.
And so are you just thinking about these hashtags off of the top of your head, or is there a resource you go to, like a website that generates it for you, or you just kind of plug it in and see how many you think, oh, this would be a good word, and then you see how many followers it is and you use that hashtag? Is that kind of your process?
So, I mean, I'm sure you can do the other way, but I do just physically type it in and I like to see with my own eyes exactly in Instagram how many posts it has and just kind of tinker around with that. And if I need to add a new hashtag to my hashtags, that I do that. I'm very real time. I don't use any systems or anything like that to do.
So I feel like you have a good following. I think this is a great question. Like, what was the thing that was a catalyst of pushing you into where you're like, wow, I'm starting to get into like the what 6-figure realm of followers. What were some things that you think you did that helped you gain that following?
So I think the biggest thing that you need to do is find something that is a niche for what you are trying to do. This advice is given a lot and it kind of drives me crazy because I don't think you need like one specific tiny niche, right? Like I don't need to just be in the niche of mom of three. I have 3 children. I don't need to just be in that niche, You can post about your life and that's what you want as somebody, like especially as an actor. You want people to be a fan of you, not just like only want this one specific type of content from you. So I don't love giving that advice like as a broad statement because then people are going to think, oh, like I'm not specific enough with my niche. But when you're doing your hashtags, as I mentioned, you want them to be very relevant to the exact post you're doing and kind of like it all is kind of a theme. You know what I mean? So the way to grow, an easy way to grow, is if you notice that a specific type of content is doing well. For example, when Wicked came out, those videos were doing very well. And the videos I posted about Wicked did very well, because it's a popular topic and it's something I was personally interested in. A lot of the followers that I was gaining were interested in it. And so it made those posts do really well. And then if you're building that following, you're going to want to keep posting that type of stuff. So that's why you want to post stuff you like, so that you're being authentic in the process, if that makes sense, as you're building these followers.
So at what point, because I know you said, well, I started an account that was specific for acting and influencing, I guess. And at what point did it just go from I'm a regular person, with my friends following me or whatever, to what day did you wake up and say, was there a day that you woke up and you were like, oh my gosh, this is getting big? Was there a moment that that happened for you?
Yeah, actually, it's funny because I realized that the ginger hashtag for some reason was working really well for me. And when I posted my headshot, and it was actually my official headshot that did it. And but I had done some redhead hashtags, and for some reason that day it like really picked up my followers, so I kept going with that. And that I think that, I don't know, it's a little different now, right? Because social media, even again, it's so crazy, even from like 7 years ago when I started doing this, it is like such a different place than it was 7 years ago. But I think the place where you really start like being an influencer kind of in that way is like probably around 20,000, when you start getting more like interest from companies to work with you. And so it's not like you have to be this person that has like 100,000 followers to really start gaining respect in that sphere. um 20,000 is definitely attainable, and even at 10,000, they used to only let you post a link in your stories if you had 10,000 followers. So I think that's also Instagram's kind of place where they kind of feel like you're starting to be noticeable to them.
Hmm. Interesting. So, well, and I like that you kind of gave that specifics of your niche for at that time, or that moment that happened for you was being a redhead or a ginger. And was it even like a ginger actress, or was it just literally just you were kind of part of the ginger community, which was niche enough?
I think it was more so the ginger community, but it was my headshot. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy that that was, what set it off. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I did kind of what I've been talking about, is where if you see something is doing well, just keep trying to post stuff like that, because you're gaining those followers. That's what those followers want to see, because that's why they followed you. And so if you see a post that's really well, try to make more content like that. And a big part of Instagram and social media, TikTok right now, is telling a story. So instead of just saying like, this is, nobody posts their food anymore, right? But I'm just using this as an example. Like, this is my meal for today. You'd want to make a story out of it. Like, this is what I ate today as a life in the life of an actress preparing for a big audition I have coming up. You tell a story and you say like, I got ready for the day and then I was feeling kind of groggy, so I wanted to pick me up. I added some this or this or this nutrients. Just like, you make a story out of your post, and people are way more interested in that and are going to want to follow your journey in that way.
I love that. That is such a great tip. We're going to get more of this and dig into more of your questions on what specifically to post and what kind of things that Michaela does in her career and social media when we come back here on Backstage Pass with Phoenix. Okay, we are here with Michaela Iverson, and she is giving us all the behind the scenes of social media. We're having a great conversation with her, and specifically to you budding actors out there, or maybe you've been an actor or an actress for a while in the industry, but you're kind of wondering how to tap into the social media realm, which it seems like many of you are. And we talked about kind of the moment for you that kind of things started going well on your social media, and you had some niches like redhead and your headshot and that kind of thing. Um, Before that, what did you do? What were the beginning stages like? I think you had told me at one point that you dedicated 1 year to posting every day. Is that right?
So actually, it was longer than that.
Okay.
Um, Luckily, I kind of found my groove and started gaining traction a few months in, actually. But for several years, I posted every single day, like literally even the day after I gave birth. And um, it felt intense and it was intense. It was worth it. I put in a lot of really hard work to my social media accounts. And then when I needed to take a step back, I did. And I think that's a really important thing to recognize in yourself is knowing when to put more in, put more gas in, and when you need to kind of take a step back for a little bit. And then recently I started posting even more than once every day. I post multiple times a day, and a great feature that Instagram has finally come out with that they wouldn't let you do before is you can schedule your own posts. That's been out for a while, but again, I took kind of a little bit of a step back and then went full throttle in, and I'm using that feature, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think that goes into what some other people are saying is like how do you do that? How do you keep that balance whether with all of your other auditions and things? How do you maintain a daily or multi-daily post?
Yeah, so I it's very exhausting to post multiple times a day. Like that's just the truth. And because you're constantly putting yourself out there, you're having to have quality content and that can be really hard. So what I do, and you've heard of this too, I'm sure, is it's called content batching. And you take, a day and you film a bunch of content. And so what I do is I plan out my what I want to have videos of, and then I write captions for each one of the videos, and then I go ahead and I go film all those videos. And it takes hours. um, but it's worth it because that way I can then go schedule those posts and have them posting for me, and I feel like a human,
Hmm.
not just constantly posting stuff on Instagram. And I also, whenever I'm doing like when I'm out and about, if I'm like, oh, that's funny, I'll take a video, and then it's really useful later because I can just throw it up there on the page, and it feels authentic. And I actually, with what I was saying earlier, is posting about what you enjoy is just so important because ever since I really started diving more like harder into acting, um, like on my page instead of just photos or whatever like it used to be, I really enjoyed these content batching sessions instead of dreading them as much because I'm talking about something that I love, and so it's actually kind of a fun way to you know because you're always auditioning and a lot of the time, I mean, you can't control when you're on set, right? You get hired, and so it's kind of a fun way to fill that gap and be like, I am making my own content about something I love and about acting, and I am acting because I do several monologues and stuff like that on my page, and it's a way to put my stuff out there and be working without having to wait till somebody casts me in something.
Hmm. We have several questions about the batch process, actually. So do you dress differently for batch filming? How do you make it look like it's not just all one outfit and, a million posts on your page, I guess?
So I do change, and that kind of sucks.
You
I
do
do.
your hair different, I guess? Like, I don't know. Do you change your makeup?
It's really easy to change. So like I'll either for some of the posts I'll put it all the way back. Like it's like that's a whole different look than what I had going into this call and this interview. That looks totally different. Or just ponytail real quick. Or flipping it just to the other side makes such a big difference. But I kind of find a way to make that work for me. So I'll have this is a kind of a long explanation. I'll try to shorten it. On certain days of the week, I've organized it to where it's easier for me to come up with ideas and also to post them. Where Tuesday is this specific kind of post that I do in the morning. And so for that post, for Tuesdays, I'm wearing the same outfit for all the Tuesday videos. But it doesn't look like it's the same outfit on my feed because it's on Tuesdays. So you're not going to see that outfit again for a whole nother week.
Yeah.
And on my page for a whole nother week. But then you're not changing a million times because you're filming however long you want to schedule your posts out. Let's say 2 months. You're filming 8 different videos in that outfit, so it doesn't. you're not like constantly changing. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. No, I love this. So and they're asking how many days in advance. I know I've heard from somebody like if you can get 3 months out, that's a goal. Some other people do like just a week out in advance. What do you personally do?
So I think it's important to play around with that yourself just to kind of know what you like. It takes a long time to plan 2 months out. So you have to really have a few dedicated days, not like the whole day, but a few hours for several days where you have to sit down, plan them out, film them, schedule them, write out the captions. Um, I like doing 2 months in advance. I think any longer than that like, the stuff might get a little stale. You know what I mean? Or like, you're not able to post about things that just barely happened that way.
Mhm.
Um, and also holidays, those kinds of things, current events, it's just not able to be as current if you do over 2 months. But that's what I do. And it just, again, it makes it so it kind of gives you a renewed love for it because you don't have to think about it. Um, and then when it does come time to film again, it's been long enough that you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of fun again.
Right. Well, I guess along with that being current, what if something happens that day? So if you are posting, like you already have it scheduled out in advance, I'm guessing that's what it means. What if something happens that day and you want to post it again? Does that mess up the schedule or do you just kind of throw it in there?
So recently for me, it's kind of easy to just reschedule the post I had planned for that day to later.
Hmm.
Um, and so you just kind of put it in there and then you push the other one to later if you want to do that. Or something that I've discovered recently, which is really surprising to me, is that if I post 2 times a day, and even I'm sure more, but I aim for two because more than that is just just too crazy. Um, if I post 2 times a day, my posts perform significantly better, and that's crazy. Like I didn't that's something you see I'm constantly learning, right? And so I tried it and I was like, oh my gosh, this video did so much better. And then I tried it the next day and they kept doing better because I had posted today. And so honestly, if you want to throw something in there that's not scheduled, you could just throw it in there. Basically, I mean, you want to have time between the posts, because otherwise it's just kind of killing the reach on the first post. But yeah, as long as you put a few hours between your posts, I think you could just throw it in there.
I love it. I'm going to try to get through the rest of the questions. Hopefully we can. We have just a few minutes left, so we're going to take a really quick break, but we'll be back in just a few here on Backstage Pass with Phoenix. Okay, wasting no time here, getting to the rest of the questions. Thank you so much, Michaela, for being here and answering all of our questions about behind the scenes of social media, specifically for our actors and actresses who are trying to break it into the biz. So in the last segment, we were kind of talking about the batch process, batching your videos so that you can you can get ahead on posting on social media and be consistent. Okay, one of the questions is because you were saying you posted for a while, like years, every single day, even the day after you gave birth, which is amazing. What if somebody gets off the train? How do they feel not this burden of, oh, well, I all is lost now. Now I have to start another year. What is your advice for that?
So as someone that purposely got off the train, I can speak to that really well. I felt so burnt out. I was just like, this is dumb. I'm so sick of just pandering to people. That's what I felt like. Because back then, again, I told you, like I didn't feel free enough to post really what I wanted to post about. And I was trying to just aim my stuff at what I thought people wanted. And that's just not a good way to go about things at all because then you're gonna hate what you're doing. And so I said I'm getting off this train, and I still posted like twice a week, like I kept it going. Um, but it's just like anything else in life. It can feel overwhelming, like, well, there's no point anymore. Like they don't even want to hear from me. I haven't been posting and I'm not consistent, blah, 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 blah. You can make up a million excuses to not do something, but day one is day one and it's going to turn into day 365 eventually, as long as you keep putting the work in. And I just think it's not true. The people that were there for you back then are going to be pleasantly surprised that you're back. They're going to be happy to see you posting and thriving and sharing with them again because they subscribed to you, not like literal subscribe. They just wanted to know more about you and your life at one point, and that's probably not changed. It's going to take some building back up, and that's just the harsh truth, the harsh reality. Um, but it's worth it, and you have to make sure again that it fills you up. And so again, post about what you're interested in. And I think that's like the biggest piece of advice I could give. If you're really passionate about acting, then post about acting. You'll find your people.
So, do you think that it makes a difference if they miss like one day of posting? Is that going to get them off? Like, is the algorithm going to notice that? Is it really important to stay, if they wanted to maintain that, to stay posting every single day?
I think it's more about the long-term view. I think it's a slow build. Posting every day is just going to be consistently showing up for them and for yourself. I don't think missing one day is going to be detrimental to you. Like if you're going on vacation, go on vacation. Be a person, live a life. Don't worry about it. When you come back, you'll start posting every day again, and the algorithm will be like, "Hey, they're here."
Yeah.
I don't think. I think above all else, you need to be alive and a human being. So no, I don't think that a day, a week, even a year, I don't think that's going to derail you. I think life is about learning when to pick things back up again and continue on.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful message and then really important, especially for those in the entertainment industry to hear because you don't want your life to be run by a robot. The algorithm is not who you should be kneeling down before. And I think that that's a really good message to end on. I do want to slip in this. I'll slip in one last question here because I think it's very practical and I'm sure it's on a lot of people's minds. They're asking about storage. So you were talking about how, you take videos here and there, you post so many things. How do you store all those videos and and pictures on your phone?
I have a lot of phone storage, and that's just the answer. You have to go through and you have to delete the old ones, right? But as a content creator, unfortunately, that's something you're a content creator, actor. Unfortunately, that's just something you're probably going to have to pay for. But hey, you can write it off on taxes.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so if you buy a phone that is more expensive, and you can write it off as taxes, as for tax purposes. If you pay for Google Photos every month, you can write that off as on taxes because you're a content creator. There's so many things you can write off taxes. Like really, I could do a
A whole
whole
other segment on this.
for real, for reals. I really, really, really could. But that's just kind of something you're gonna have to factor into the cost of being an actor because even like I take a lot of audition videos, and those eat up a lot of space. These scenes are like 4 minutes long, and you have to edit them together, and then you have to save that edit, and it gets really, yeah, yeah. But you have to go through and you have to delete them, and that's just kind of part of the whole gig. There is one thing, if you're kind of wrapping this up, I want to say something I heard on a podcast. Someone asked Tina Fey if she had a piece of advice for anyone like that was trying to become a comedian. They said, Tina, today, if you were trying to become a comedian, if you were trying to get on SNL, what would you be doing? What would you be doing to try to get there? And she said, I'd be on TikTok. I'd be making funny videos on TikTok. And I think that's in our day and age, like, I don't know, that kind of sounds sad, but at the same time, it's not because you have so much opportunity,
Yeah.
right? And for me, when I heard that, I was like, wow, that's actually really telling that Tina Fey is saying that. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like, that's where it's at. You need to be creating your own stuff and creating your own opportunity because you don't need to wait for people to say yes to you. Say yes to yourself, and people will notice that. People will admire that, and there's people that will flock to you and who you are and your light and your ability, and you got to just do it. You got to take Nike's advice and just do it.
Yes. Oh, that's a beautiful way to wrap this up. I really do appreciate that because, yeah, I mean, I think people maybe shed some negative light on social media, but it is in a positive way. It's an opportunity that's at everyone's fingertips. And if you're brave enough to put yourself out there, you might be able to reap some of those benefits. And thank you so much for sharing with us how you have reaped the benefits. Quickly, if people want to follow you or hear more about you, where can they go?
So my Instagram is my main, that's where I mainly do social media, and it's just my name, Michaela Iverson. It's probably spelled somewhere on the like
Yeah.
who you. Um, so or Michaylaiverson. That's my at. And on TikTok it just has a period in between. And so I was lucky enough to score my name on Instagram before somebody else took it or
Awesome.
so.
Michaela Iverson, thank you so much. And thank you for watching this and catching this. Share it with your friends, everyone that needs to know the behind the scenes of social media. And we'll catch you next time on Backstage Pass with Phoenix.